Sorry but not sorry, Boxing Talk with Cam J Network, man, and we back with another banger, man. Hey, subscribe to Cam J Network on YouTube. Follow Cam J Network on all socials, man. We working. And remember, like and subscribe on this video specifically for sure, man. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what y'all think about the video in general. You did? But let's get back to it, man. Tank versus Roach recap. I know I'm a week late. I've been having been lifing, been having some things going this week, you know what I'm saying, and everything. Plus, I had the Buckeye Steppers podcast Wednesday, but we back at it right now. Tank versus Roach, a lot has happened. And another reason why I didn't drop so early too on my recap was I just wanted to process everything what was going on from the fight up until now. And I've been watching, I've been on YouTube, I've been all over social media watching what people have been saying about this fight and everything. And it's been hilarious, man. But let me start from the top, man, as far as this event in general. Amazing event. Tank, they sold over 19,000, second highest, and second highest attendance at the Barclays Center for all events, which is Tank, breaking another record pretty much. Broke his own record from his fight with Rolly Romero. And it was a great event, man, from top to bottom, man. Watching the first fight with Scooter Davis, he got a first round knockout. He looked good. Danny Whitmire, the body snatcher, he looked good in his fight. Um, who was it? I'm trying to think of what's his name. Who ended up retiring? Oh snaps. Okay, crossed my mind a little bit. Jared Hurd, his fight. Jared Hurd had a tough fight. Wasn't going to get the decision in that fight at all. He was losing like every round in that fight for real. Trying to think of who he was fighting again. Real quick. Go back. He was. He was fighting Johan Gonzalez in that fight. And Johan Gonzalez, it was a ugly fight for real. I didn't like that fight. That was the last fight on the prelims. Jared Hurd, he lost that fight, ended up retiring after the fight. So salute to Jared Hurd for his great career. Definitely did some great work in boxing and stuff, man. And enjoy your retirement, man. Definitely well needed, because what we seen out there, it wasn't working out there for you, man. It wasn't working. It wasn't working. I gotta do something real quick. Mute these groups real quick. My phone be going crazy throughout the day. All right. So, first order of business, man, for the pay-per-view. Eunice Tellez versus Julian J. Rock Williams, man. This was a good fight. This was a good fight. J. Rock, he put up a good fight much as he can. Tellez, he controlled the fight. Total punches landed. Tellez, he had 35.9% over J. Rock's 26.6%. Basically 180 punches to his 502, that's from Tellez. 106 punches to Julian J. Rock's 399 punches, which is Tellez he was just more accurate. He threw more punches and he was more accurate than J. Rock. J. Rock, at the beginning of the fight, he was active the first couple of rounds, but I kind of knew as it going on that activity wasn't going to last. Eunice, he was throwing a lot of punches with bunches, even though he wasn't landing a lot of them, but he was throwing a lot of punches with bunches, and he was more active and he was more accurate than J. Rock. J. Rock just didn't have the gas to, perform offense-wise in this fight versus Tellez. And, I picked Tellez to win. win that fight, and he won that fight. Good fight for Tellez, up and coming guy at 160 that's, trying to up his name. Man, we'll see where he goes from here, man. And let's get to the second fight, man. The second fight, Alberto Puello versus Sandor Martin for the 140-pound WBC title. I like this fight. This was a good fight, and it was crazy watching it live. It was a little different for me at first because I was like, it looked like Sandor Martin was, outworking Puello. Like he was picking his shots well, setting up great angles, and he was, he had great defense. But I mean, I seen a lot of people outraged saying that Sandor Martin should have won the fight, which is, watching it live, I thought he should have won the fight. But then watching it back again, I see why they gave the decision to Puello. Because Sandor Martin was throwing a lot of punches, but he wasn't connecting a lot of punches. I mean, you can just look at it with the punch stats. Total punches landed. Puello had 150 punches landed, 526 punches attempted. And then, Sandor Martin. Now, this fight, I had Sandor Martin winning this fight live. I ain't gonna lie. When I predicted Puello to win this fight, but if you look at the work, man, Sandor Martin, he should have won this fight. He should have won this fight if you look at the stats. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie. And the crazy part in my predictions, I said that if it goes to decision, I got Puello winning this fight because he's the PBC fighter, and everybody, if you're in boxing, you should know the business. Certain promotional companies, if they got a champion fighting against a guy and it's a close decision fight, they're going to give it to that guy. You know what I'm saying? It happens with all of these promotional companies. You know what I mean? And this was the case in this fight with Puello and Sandor Martin. Martin landed 36.7%. Then Puello's 28.5%. Then they was looking at Puello on the body percentage. Martin had the edge, 25.8% in that to Puello's 24%. And then power punches, Martin, he won in that department as well, 40.8% to Puello's 33.6%. You know what I'm saying? And you just looking at if you're looking at the rounds, Puello was more active. He's more active in the rounds, but Sandor Martin's more precise with his shots. And it just looked like the judges was basically judging off of Puello's activity more so than, the actual shots being landed between both guys. And, me personally, I had Sandor Martin win this fight. But they gave it to Puello. It is what it is. Puello now, he sets up an opportunity now where he can unify against the next fight that we're going to talk about. Gary Russell versus Rayo Valenzuela, man. That fight, it was crazy. I really told it. And the crazy part, I did a couple videos talk about this fight last week, and I was like, man, I got Rayo on upset alert. I think Gary can get the job done. And Gary shattered what I said. He literally, cooked Rayo. He cooked Rayo bad, man. Like, pitched the shutout. Like, Rayo, he's not a slick boxer as he personally thought he was. Because, yeah, he got that off against Pitbull, but Pitbull, we all know his style. He's a come-forward fighter, pressure fighter, trying to make the fight difficult for you, and he wanted to make it a slugfest. And this wasn't the same fight for him against Gary. Gary's a guy that is a boxer-puncher, and Gary boxed well on the outside, even fought well on the inside with Rayo. Rayo said he was going to have to fight on the inside, and I think that was a good plan. But at the same time, I think he should have made it more ugly, trying to fight more on the inside. But Gary, he made it more great for us fighting on the outside, stepping in, fighting on the inside, taking great angles, being sharp on defense. Rayo couldn't hit him, and I mean, you could even just look at the punch stats, man. Like, um, the punch stats was crazy because these punch stats is kind of off to me on this one, but Rayo was getting picked apart by Gary in this fight. Like, this was the best fight I've seen from Gary Russell out of all his fights, man. And he picked the best night to fight the way he fought. You know what I'm saying? And just look at the punch stats. You know, Gary, they had Valenzuela landing. He had the more precise shots, but Gary almost threw almost 1,000 punches, man. 957 punches and landed 252 punches, man. And that was big. Like, you know, Gary was more active. Rayo wasn't active in the fight. He wasn't. He a lot of punches he was throwing. He wasn't catching Gary with anything for real, honestly. And I feel like Rayo should have went more to the body because he did some decent work with the body. You know what I'm saying? He landed 49 body shots. I mean, yeah. And I mean, right now, with that 140-pound division, it's all over the place, man. The belts is changing like draws right there in the 140-pound division, man, right now. You got Gary is the new WBA champion now, so possibly we may get Puello and Gary Russell too as a unification fight at 140 for the WBC and the WBA. Both guys on PBC, it makes sense to go ahead and make that fight happen. And I know Gary, he already on record saying that he wants that fight, so it makes much sense to make that fight happen for sure next. Then you got, Richard and Hitchens. He got the IBF title at 140. And you got Teofimo Lopez. He has the WBO title, which is he's about to fight Arnold Barbosa May 2nd on the Ryan and Rolly card, along with Devin Haney and Jose Ramirez. So the 140-pound division is pretty interesting, man. Definitely interesting. I mean, that WBA belt, it went from Rolly to Pitbull to Rayo and now Gary Russell. And you got to salute Gary Russell putting on a fabulous performance. I thought he had performance of the night last weekend, in my opinion. And I'm curious to see what's next for Gary Russell, man. I really hope they do make the Puello fight because that's the fight to make for real for PBC. You know what I'm saying? It makes much sense. And it leads in to the main topic, which I know a lot of y'all going to be here for. Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach, the main event from last week, man. Great fight. Let me start with that. Let me say that. Great fight. A lot of crazy stuff happened in this fight, obviously. You know what I'm saying? But I can just speak on my personal opinion as far as the fight, just in general. I felt like Tank won the early rounds of the fight. And even if you look at the copy box scores, a lot of judges had Tank winning 5-1 going into the 6th round. But two of the 3 judges had Tank winning 5 of the 6 rounds. So let me just go ahead and go to it. All right. Okay. So it wasn't much action in the early rounds in the fight in particular, but at the same time, I felt like, like Tank controlled the pace. He was throwing great shots early in the rounds, and Lamont wasn't doing much of anything for real in the early rounds. But you can say both of them. You can make a case and say both of them wasn't doing much, in the later rounds. But if you look at round one, you can get that round. You can say that's a Lamont round. Okay. Round two, um, it's a swing round pretty much, where you could have gave it to either one of those guys because both of them was 25%. Far as landing punches. Round three was a Tank round. Round four was another round where it was a swing round. But if you look at the accuracy of the punches, Tank won with 25% to Lamont Roach 21.7% in round four. So we already going through round four right now, which is honestly a lot of people. I seen people in these early rounds. They was like, man, I seen this one guy, my guy, he JB. He gonna say, oh, Lamont up 5-1. Where? Stop it. Round five, another Tank round. You know what I'm saying? Another Tank round in that round. Round six, another Tank round. You know what I'm saying? I landed 11 punches to Lamont's 5 punches in the round six specifically. Round seven is where it started getting spicy. Lamont started, turning it up a little bit. Now, I'm going to tell you about this fight. Earlier in the fight, Tank was fighting good. He was locked in. He was fighting on the outside. He was picking his shots wisely. He was being sharp on defense. And then it got towards like the middle of the fight to where Tank started losing focus. He's talking to, the referee. It's just so much going on and stuff where he wasn't locked in with how he is in all his fights for real. He being 100% locked in this fight. And round seven, you can give that to Lamont. Lamont landed 16 to Tank's 12, and he was more precise. Well, Tank was more precise in that round. You know what I'm saying? Some people would be like, okay, we might give that round to Tank because Tank, he threw 12 punches. He landed 12 punches to 28. And Lamont, he threw 52 punches in that round, but only landed 16. You know what I'm saying? And, the percentage of that round, 42.9% for Tank, and Lamont's, 30.8% in that round. You know what I'm saying? So in the judges' eyes, you can see them looking at it like, shit, I give Tank that 7 round too because he was more accurate in that round. You know what I mean? In this fight, it was a lot of swing rounds in this fight. Like, a lot of swing rounds in this fight, which is, it makes up for a good fight. When you have swing rounds where, the round can go to either fighter, it makes up for a good fight. And that's something that, a lot of fans is like, oh, Tank was getting hit with shots and stuff like that. Bro, it's boxing. You're going to get hit. What the fuck are we out here for? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's boxing. You're going to get hit, man, for sure. Like, all right, so the eighth round, that was Lamont round. You know what I mean? Lamont round, even though Tank was more accurate in the round as far as his shots. Then it comes to the infamous knife round. All right, let's talk about the knife round. Do I think Tank had something in his eye? Far as the hair gel from from his braids. Yes, I do. I ain't gonna lie. Yes, I do. I had dreads for 10 and a half years. So I know once you get your hair twisted and braided, and then you working somewhere, you doing something active wise, and you start to sweat, you get some of that chemical, a lot of gel chemicals, get it in your eye, it can burn your eye. So yes, I do believe that Tank had something in his eye. But Tank taking a knee, can't do that. Ref started counting. Ref got to keep counting. You take a knee, that's a knockdown. I got to keep it 100. It was supposed to be a knockdown, but the ref didn't rule it a knockdown. So you got to live with that because it's up to the ref to make that call. You know what I mean? And I know all the fans are outraged about the whole shit, but it ain't Tank Davis' fault. It's the ref's fault. Was a little favoritism in the situation? Hell yeah, it was. Tank, he made a mistake. He even mentioned it after the fight that, that was a mistake. And he won't make that mistake again, which is, I assure you that he won't make that mistake again because He don't want to be getting trolled and getting cooked the way he been getting cooked the past week. So, yes, it was a knockdown. It should have been ruled a knockdown, but they didn't rule it a knockdown. So y'all got to live with it. It is what it is. Referees, we done seen referees make mistakes in millions of fights. So, you know what I'm saying? There's only an extra emphasis on this whole knockdown situation because of the fact that it's Tank Davis, because he's the biggest star in America in boxing right now. You know what I mean? So that's the only reason why there's an extra emphasis on this shit. But at the same time, like I said, it was supposed to be a knockdown, but they didn't rule it a knockdown. Gotta live with it. It is what it is. All of y'all Tank haters and stuff still posting and talking about it all damn day. Y'all wasting y'all damn time. You know what I'm saying? It's a waste of time at the end of the day. But yeah, but specifically go on that round, two judges in that round. If y'all watch that round specifically, even after that situation happened, Tank comes back and he dominates that round and he won that round. So even if they ruled it a knockdown, it would have been a 9-9 round because two judges had Tank winning it 10-9. And it goes back to like the situation with Ryan and Tank when they fought. When Tank he knocked down Ryan in that fight in the second round. They gave two judges in that fight gave Ryan a 9-9 round in there. They made it a tie in that round. Even with the knockdown. They thought Ryan won that round. Even with the knockdown. I'm just showing you this. It's just an example of how some of this shit can shake up for us, the judges in particular. You know what I'm saying? Whether y'all fans like it or not, even if even if it was ruled a knockdown, it still would have been a tie in that round. Possibly. You know what I'm saying? And or they would have did like they said, they would have gave it would have been a tie in that round pretty much. But at the same time, even with the knockdown, and you see Lamont Roach, he just petitioned for the fight to be overturned. Bro, you don't know the outcome of the fight, even if it was ruled a knockdown on top of that. Like, you don't know if Tank would have fought more harder. Like, you don't know the outcome. Like, Tank would have, went in and tried to, fight differently in that fight. Lamont as well, both sides. Like, so for the whole petition shit, it was like I said, I was telling people in my chat and talking to people on the net and stuff. I'm like, bro, like he's wasting his time with this petition, obviously. And they just ruled it last night that they're not overturning the fight, which it was stupid to begin with anyway. For far as even petitioning, like Lamont, I got some videos to talk about that. About you on Lamont. We're gonna talk about it in this next video. But back to the fight. 10th round, you can say that round, Tank was more accurate in this fight. In the 10th round. But Lamont landed one more punch than Tank in the 10th round. The 11th round was a Tank round to me. Tank he upped this. They both landed 17, but Tank was more precise. One thing about Tank in this fight, he started to he tried to bully Lamont. He tried to bully Lamont as far as, try to run through him and fight on the inside and think, Lamont wasn't going to be able to take his punches. One thing Tank was doing very well in the fight was he was landing very great, precise body shots in the fight, early in the fight. And he stopped going to the body towards the later in the fight. You know what I mean? Because after that 9th round, I felt like Tank's focus was just off. Like he wasn't there, man. And me personally, if Tank would have landed more, if he would have invested more to the body, set up, better combinations in this fight, he could have made this fight an easy fight than one clear by decision in this fight for real. You know what I mean? The 12th round, I gave the 12th round to Lamont. But if you just look at the total punch stats in general, Tank landed 36.9% to Lamont Roach 28%. Lamont, he beat him in the jab department. That's the only department that he beat him in. and throwing more punches because he threw more punches than Tank. You know what I'm saying? Um, Lamont won 16.9% in the jab department to Tank's 14.5. Tank didn't throw too many jabs, which I think he need to incorporate that in the next fight in the rematch as well. No, feint will set up, no, set up some of your face and stuff with jabs and everything. And in the power punch department, Tank won in that. 44.3% to Lamont's 34.5%. You know what I mean? So like the judges in reality, in my eyes, looking back at it, they ruled it a draw and a majority draw, and I felt it was righteous. I mean, you just look at one judge had it, 115, 113 for Tank. Then both judges, the other two judges, had it 114, 114, which is I thought it was pretty fair. It was a close fight. A lot of rounds were swing rounds. Lamont didn't do much to win the fight. He was basically just countering off of Tank shots. He was wanting Tank to be more active so he can just catch and shoot throughout the night, which is he did a great job in that, taking nothing from him. He did a great job catching and shooting. Lamont's hand speed is faster than what people think as well. And this is so crazy because this was the fight that I told people this is going to be competitive. I think Tank is going to win this fight. I thought Tank was going to get a knockout in the later rounds between like 7 and 12, but it didn't happen to be that way, which is it's totally fine, man. This is boxing, man. This is competitive. A lot of y'all people was shitting on this fight, talking about Tank. Tank is cherry picking, and Lamont Roach is the bum. But now y'all praising Lamont Roach now, which is crazy and nasty work for some of you guys. It just shows y'all disgust and hate for Tank. You know what I'm saying? And y'all was wishing upon this fight to be a loss for Drake. Y'all still calling a loss for Drake, which is I'm gonna be real. If y'all felt like Tank lost this fight, okay, hey, you entitled to your opinion at the end of the day. I'm gonna tell you, it's a lot of mixed opinions for us this particular fight. You got a lot of people that thinking that Tank won. You got a lot of people that hate Tank, that think Tank lost. You know what I'm saying? Everybody sending me little videos and stuff like, oh, Canelo, Bud, Devin, Shakur, Keyshawn, all these people talk about Tank lost. I was like, well, y'all sending me videos of these guys that don't like Tank. Paulie Malignaggi don't like Tank. You know what I'm saying? Sean Porter don't really care for Tank either. You know what I'm saying? Too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of these guys, of course, they're going to say Tank lost because these guys don't like Tank, to be honest. You know what I mean? That's just the truth of the matter. You know what I mean? But at the same time, um, Tank going to be back better than ever. The rematch is on the way, and we ready for it. This was a great fight, great event. Tank, a lot of things he can do better, but I got more videos to talk about it. And this was the recap right here for Tank versus Roach. And we out of here.